Welcome back. Do you dread the thought of going to work each morning, whether it's dealing with a difficult boss or frustrating co-workers? It could be the sign that you are in a toxic environment.
So what should you do if you find yourself stuck in this situation? Best-selling author Colin D. Ellis wrote a book titled Detox Your Culture, and he joins us live from Melbourne to discuss this morning. Good morning, Colin.
Morning.
So what made you want to write a book like this? Is it from first-hand experience?
Well, I was an employee myself for 30 years, very fortunate only to work in really one toxic environment. But I think what drove me, Belinda, was reading all the stories in the media about some of the experiences that employees around the world had. And I felt a sense of responsibility to kind of write the book that gives a bit of a blueprint of how you can avoid unwittingly creating this kind of environment.
So for those at home, what are the signs that they may be in a toxic workplace?
Well, some of I suppose, the more classic signs, David: bullying, harassment, micromanagement is a big one, sexism, racism, misogyny, all of the kind of worst of human traits. But these things really happen over a period of time. Toxic culture is almost never a surprise, and some of those serial offenders have almost got away with that behaviour for a long period of time, David. So, yeah, these things are never a surprise, and long-term exposure to these things can be, kind of emotionally damaging.
Some of those seem pretty obvious, though, but you said the micromanagement there, and let's just drill down on that a little bit. How can you tell that you're being micromanaged and the effects it can have on you?
Well, you almost have no autonomy, you have no agency over the work that you do. The manager is always there telling you exactly what to do. There's never an expectation that's set about timeliness, about quality of work. David, instead, they want to do the work for you, or they're telling you or directing you exactly how you should do it. You feel like they're always on your back, they're always on your shoulder looking over the work that you're doing, to the point where it's just emotionally crushing to be in the office every day.
Just take us through the personal impacts that it can have on people.
Well, the real extremes are emotional and physical harm, Belinda, but it's that sense of dread. 1 in 4 people dreads going to work in the morning.
Wow.
And actually, when you're exposed to toxic culture over a long period of time, you're 22 times more likely to experience suicidal thoughts. And so, it can have a real impact on humans who just want to show up to work every day and do the best job that they can. And these things are a short, medium, and long-term impact.
So if you do find yourself in this situation, what are the first steps you should or could take?
Well, the first thing I always recommend, David, is to actually talk to your manager. Most of these managers, they don't do it on purpose. In my experience, they lack the self-awareness to really understand how they're communicating and their actions.
That can be
so
scary,
if it's safe to do so, go there first. Then after that, speak to your HR department. They're the ones that really should safeguard the culture for everybody else. And so there's got to be, kind of an avenue for talk to people about how you feel and the behaviour that you're being exposed to on a day-to-day basis.
And people often feel a bit trapped in their job because, especially cost of living and everything these days.
You don't want to walk away.
Yeah, so you don't want to walk away from your job. But at what point do you know that this is what you need to do?
Yeah, or you can't walk away, Belinda. There's lots of well-meaning advice out there. It's like, oh, well, if you're working in a toxic culture, just leave. Some people just can't afford just to walk away like that. Right. They have jobs, they have mortgages, kids to pay for, schooling. And so really, really when you're suffering emotional and physical harm, that's the time where you really need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, is it better to take the risk? Or should I stick with what I've got right now? There really is a line from which, kind of physically you'd find it very hard to come back from. And that's the point where you should decide to leave.
You're a good boss, Colin.
Yeah.
I can see why he was a good boss. Yeah, he was very popular.
But is it good that we're talking about it more now, Colin?
It is, because we haven't talked about it for years, and there's still some people, believe it or not, Belinda, who are harking back to the old days. Oh, in the good old days, you used to be able to do things differently. But the good old days were really, kind of dehumanizing, demoralizing for most members of staff. Yes, there was a big reason that I wrote the book, is I wanted to kind of write down, here's some things that you can do to stop this happening. There's a sense that toxic culture is inevitable. It's absolutely not. And there are many things that leaders can do to make sure that this never, ever happens.
It's a great book. Colin, thanks for your time this morning. You can purchase a copy of Detox Your Culture from December 1st.
Thank you, Colin. Coming up on Today Extra,